Yes, you can see my screen, right? Okay, so last week, sorry, in the last class, actually, we were committing the code and we were doing like several operations, to make our code ready in the main branch, right? So if you wanted to deploy that, right, if you wanted to deploy that into certain servers, okay, or into a development server, okay. So how do you do that? Like, you can always do it with a manual way, like generate that jar file in your local and copy that jar file into the application server wherever you wanted to deploy it. Yeah, the manual approach is always there. But if you wanted to do it and in an automated way, okay, so somebody can take care, these kind of things, okay, in the perspective of deployment, and whenever we required deployment, actually you don't require to do all these manual steps again and again. You just need to do with the button click, okay, just giving the artifactory details, okay. So how we can build that kind of things, okay, in the day-to-day, regular basis of, for your deployments. Okay, so I wanted to introduce that new topic, like, yeah, we can do those things in the GitHub, okay. Yeah, we can build pipelines and everything, but, the GitLab is the one which we are going to check on it. Okay, so in the GitLab, um, how do you build an application? And later going forward, I think, in the last week, whatever the application that we are going to build it, okay, we are going to push that application into, kind of an AWS server, or, some to the cloud. Okay, I'm gonna tell that actually, but, this week, we are going to learn what exactly a YAML file, and how do you write those steps, to build a jar file, for a Java application. Okay, so that building till that building part, actually we are going to learn now for the GitLab, but the deployment perspective and all, we are going to learn it on the last week. Okay, once we have this uh, what do you say, but once we have the Docker is completed, and once we cover the Docker and AWS, related basics, and then, we will try to deploy into a AWS server. Okay, the same application, and, you'll try to run that application from the AWS, okay, directly, and you can see, like how we can deploy it to the cloud. Okay, so for now, yeah, let's log into the GitLab and just see some small examples, like, related to YAML, what is YAML and all, okay, and how we construct that YAML file. I'll just give you a couple of examples, and then, we can start working on a project, okay, small project that okay, so yeah, just give me a second. Okay. 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 So when we go into the GitLab, okay. So yeah, we have a couple of questions that we need to, like, first we need to address them. Like, one is, what is CI CD, right? What exactly this is. Okay. So okay. So CI goes with term called continuous integration. Okay. So what exactly is continuous integration, right? You know, there's a practice of continuously integrating, the code changes with all other developers which are working on the application, right? So ensure that, all the project can still be built or compiled, whatever the code commit that we are doing and whatever we are trying to integrate to the existing repo. Okay. So all these things, okay. Okay, so whatever the changes that you are doing, and so making sure you update all the test cases, everything, whatever we are doing on the project level. Okay, so when you commit them, and when it is available for the other developers, and that part exactly, it is called as code continuous integration. Okay, so CI, and when it comes to the CD, it is like, it's a continuous deployment. Okay. So this continuous deployment will be having, certain phases. Okay. So you are going to build the let's say, let us consider one of the Java application, or Maven application, what we are going to build it. Okay. So finally, either a jar file it is going to generate, or it is going to, generate a var file. Okay. So what will be that part? Actually, we are going to build a jar file, with our existing code, whatever you see on the project, right? So that's the first step. And you are going to perform the code quality. Okay. So what is mean by code quality? Yeah, there are several tools that verifies, uh, our code quality. Okay. So, like, if you have any duplicate code, or if you have any dead code, and there are few best practices that we follow whenever we write some code. Okay. So if those things are missing, okay, you will get those alerts with this particular tools. Okay. So one of that is sonar scan. And the so what do we get? We'll be able to identify the code quality using sonar scan. Okay. So, and we must be having unit test cases, and those test cases also should run properly when you are building the application. Okay. So, and then once these steps are performed properly, then what you do, this application is going to combined as a package, and it will be it will be, either come output as a jar file or var file by the, depending on the project setting. Okay. So what after this, you have the package. Okay. So you have the package, and you wanted to push this one to your development server. Okay. So review. So what you will do after the step of creating a package, then, the deployment, phase will, come into the picture. Okay. So you have to, there are various, various options you can choose it here. Actually, for building and deploying, there are multiple options that you are going, in the market we have. Okay, one is kind of a Jenkins, and the other one is YAML. And using these things, actually you are going to build your application, and you can build your pipelines, okay, to deploy into certain environments. Okay. So after this, what you're going to do, you're going to review the test results of that package, and then, you're going to push that jar file into staging, like, LLEs, lower level environments, or, once everything is tested, and the same jar file will be pushed, into the production. So this is how it goes. Okay. So all these things, okay, can be done by CD pipelines. Okay. So first pipeline, you're gonna build code quality, test, and then package. In the second pipeline, you are going to review the test cases, whatever it we ran in the previous, and depending on that, you are going to deploy into the LLE. And once we have certain approvals, then we are going to deploy into the production. So this is how we build it. Okay. This is how the CI/CD process it does. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So let us go to the next topic. The one, the most important one, how we actually deploy something. Okay. Deploy something using a YAML file. Okay. How do you construct and all those things? We will try to learn that. The YAML first, in a very simple way. What exactly YAML is? Okay. So yeah, before going to the interaction with the GitLab, okay, so I'll show you what exactly the YAML is, because the most of the code, whatever we have it here, it is on the YAML actually for the building certain pipelines. Okay, so I wanted to, before giving that, actually I wanted to give some example about, sorry, some introduction about the YAML file, and then we go with the process of building, okay, uh, a certain project using YAML. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I just created a test.yaml in my application. Okay. So how did I create? Right click and new other, and you can also choose file. Okay. Next, and then just add the name as test.yml. Okay. So which will, when you click on next, and it is going to create that YAML file. Okay. And here it is. Okay. So what is actually the YAML, right? Okay. Yeah. YAML is, one second. Okay. So when we look at the YAML, actually it is very simple way. So YAML will always contain a file, with a key and value pair. Okay. So in this case, actually, if you see, there's a key called name and the value called, test. Okay. So this is like, it is it is it is very simple way. Actually, YAML is having only the case, like, key and value pair in the entire YAML file. You're going to see only this combination. Okay, for that, like, we will try to get some example. Okay, name test, and okay, so h, yeah, h, and email. So if you want to use some kind of list, okay, so what exactly this person might be having, okay, so okay, and this is, we call it as list. Okay, so under the stuff, okay, so you're having a certain list like laptop, car, and bike. And there is one more way that we can represent a list. Okay, so that is in this way, very simple way. Okay, so if I wanted to write food, what kind of food this guy is going to eat, and okay, pizza, nuts, cook. Okay, so this way also you can write a list. Okay, and let's I already mentioned, like, all the YAML files which will follow certain things. One is key and value. Okay, so here we looked at the list. Okay, so this is our key and these are our values. Okay, and if you see here the food, it is also having three different values. Okay, so let's see now what we'll do. I'm going to create an object called person. Okay, so under this person, actually all these keys and values gonna be okay. It's okay. What I'll do, I'm just going to okay, once again, there might be some shortcut. Okay, I think I forgot that shortcut once again to make proper indentation. Okay, yeah, but it is going to be something like this. Under this person, okay, you see all these objects and values. Okay, and Okay, so now person is our main object. Under this object, you see several key value pairs. Okay, so if you wanted to access something, okay, from from this YAML file, you have to start with accessing the person. Under the person, all the name, property, and age property, and all other properties. Okay, so here, the proper indentation, shows that, the object, okay, which property belongs to which object. Okay, so that's how it does. And, I'll show you one more couple of other objects. Okay, so I'm gonna add kind of friends, and I'll just say name, name, some test one. Okay, and the name. Mhm. Okay, so now what I've done, actually, I have created a couple of friends. Okay, and under the friends, this is, you treat it as friends object. And under this, actually, I have different kind of, properties. Okay, one is name. And under the name, actually, I have created one more object called age. Okay, key value pair, that is, for this person, actually, what is the age? So it is going to be something, very easy to understand when you use the YAML file. Okay, so it will be clearly saying that what kind of object, what, which object is having what kind of values and all. Okay, so this is like, pretty much like, whatever we can do with YAML. Okay, okay, and when you wanted to add some comment in the YAML file, so what kind of, you can use hashtag, okay, as a comment. Okay, so if you see here, it is going to, it is highlighted with a different color. So the comment is like, the comment is, we were going to proceed with the character called, special character with hashtag. And what do you see when you see this YAML file? You will remember one of other format, which is called as JSON. Okay, so when it looks pretty similar, to JSON. Okay, okay, but there is a one difference between the JSON and YAML file. Okay, so JSON will not allow any comments in the file, but YAML will allow it. Okay, okay, I'll yeah, I'll show you one small thing. Okay, how this indentation is going to work. Okay, with an example. Okay, let me go back to the browser, and one second. Yeah, so if you see here, I have this core beautify. Okay, and okay, I'm just pasting the YAML file here. And if I wanted to convert into JSON, okay, so I just converted. So how it is going to create? So if you see, Okay, using this YAML file, actually it created a JSON. Okay, so now the things whatever you're seeing it here. Okay, uh, you can easily understand the JSON file. Okay, so that in the person object, okay, you are having the name, age, and all other stuffs and food. Okay, after this, in the person, actually it created couple of objects. One is food, and the other one is friends, and the other one is stuff. Okay, so inside this, it is creating whatever the required values over here, and what are the required values over here, and whatever you passed it from the person. Okay, so what exactly it does whenever we have this one. Okay, so it is just going to convert all the things to YAML to JSON. Okay, and it will give you a proper understanding what exactly your YAML file is doing. Okay, so yeah, this is what, like, okay, any questions on the YAML file? Okay, yeah, let me go to the GitLab. Okay, so there is a sample project which I have already created, okay, in the GitLab. Okay, there are two ways actually. If you wanted to create a repository directly in GitLab, you can also do it. And or if you wanted to pull a repository from the GitHub, you can also do that one. Okay. Okay, so how we can do that? Just need to go to the repositories. One second. Yeah. Oh, car repository. Okay. If you see here, these are the three projects which I have it in my local. Okay. So in the lab, GitLab. So how do you create them? You can create it like, either importing from GitHub, and you can also import it, new project or repository. You can also create it directly in the GitLab, new project or new repository, by clicking it here. Yeah. So create a blank project, import project, or run CI. So what I'm just clicking on the create blank project, and you just give the project name, and that's it. Project URL, it will be auto created, and so there's a option that GitLab provides. So we are trying to deploy this. Okay. So depending on that, it is going to auto suggest, some of the, some of the easy things, in the GitLab whenever you are building this project. Okay. So I'll show you the example as I mentioned. Okay. So I'll show you, like, if you are building a Java application, and if you wanted to deploy it to AWS, okay, some virtual machine. Okay. So what what exactly, what kind of option that you need to pick it up from here. Okay, so I'll tell you, but for now, just don't select anything. And the visibility level, you can take it as private, public, whatever you need. Okay, and just click on create project. Okay, so when you click on create project, okay, so what it does actually, it is going to create a project kind of this one. Okay, so I have already this project name called car. Okay, so under the car, I don't have any other extra information, okay, or any class file or anything, but I do have one YAML file which was generated by CI/CD. Okay, sorry, which was generated by GitLab. Okay, and under this GitLab CI YAML, so let's see, couple of things. Okay, okay, so what I've done, actually, I have just given some small instructions, to this in the GitLab. Okay, sorry, in the YAML file. Okay, so what are those? Like, I have a key called stages. Okay, object, and I have two things. One is build and one is test. Okay, so what exactly this is going to do, and whenever it comes to the build, okay, so we have a stage called build. Okay, so we use a stage key, and if we use a value, whatever we have it under the stages. Okay, so stages is kind of an object, and which is having multiple values. Okay, so for each and every stage, you can write some code, you can write some scripts, okay, inside that particular stage name. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm trying to build a car. Okay, so what exactly we can do when we are going to build a car. So we consider there are two stages, for the car building. Okay, one is build the car, and the another one is test the car. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, so first one is build a car. This is my first stage. Okay, so what is the stage name, which we already declared as build? Okay, I'm gonna use stage equals to build, and what script that you wanted to run. Okay, so I'm trying to create a directory called build, and I'm just changing that current directory to build, and then I'm creating a file called car.txt. And what I'm trying to do, I'm just adding chassis and engine and wheels, to the car.txt. So generally, what we do when we wanted to build the car, so we first build the chassis, and we build the engine next, and we will add the wheels at the end of the car build. So this is how you build in a sequential steps. You build one by one, and you finally create a product called car.txt, right? So so how it runs, right? Like so where exactly this it's going to store, right? So you have to store this artifact. This is our artifact, that is car.txt. And we were saying that YAML, this is the artifact related object, and inside I have a path. Okay, so what the path value? The path value is build slash, and that means whatever the artifact that we generated over here using script, that car.txt, it is going to store at the under the build. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's already generated over the script only. Sorry, but for artifacts, why we are going to use it, I'll tell you. Okay, so why we define these artifacts. Okay, so we define these artifacts, you know, to continue the next process. Okay, so what is the next process? Test, right? So what we are going to test it, in that, in a way we are going to test it, right? The test will happen on the file whichever it is generated on the script, like when we build a car. Okay, so on this stage, we are having certain steps, to generate a file. Okay, so we are generating car.txt. But if you wanted to test that, sorry, if you wanted to test that car, so you need that jar file which is available, or the file which was generated, which should be available in the next stage, right? So to make it available, we use this artifacts. Okay, so where do you find these artifacts? We have to give that path, and we have to give that folder name, the build slash. And when we use in the, the next phase is, the next stage is, test the car. So I have given a name, test the car, and stage it is test. Okay, so I'm gonna write script again. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, I'm just, testing. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going to, I'm right. I'm trying to test this file. Okay, and uh, test this file, using searching something on the files. Okay, so what we have added here, so we added, chassis, engine, and wheels into the text. Okay, so using a grep command. Okay, before that, I'm trying to, navigate, you know into the folder where exactly we have this artifacts, and I'm trying, whether the file exists or not, using the command. If it is exist, then perform the next steps, like, cd build and, cat car.txt. And using the grep command, I'm searching certain text in the car.txt. Okay, so after this, I have searched something, and that is the end. Like, we don't have anything, to check on these things, right? How, I'm just checking whatever we added over here. Okay, whether it is present in the car.txt or not. Okay, so let's see, how this YAML file is going to perform, right? Okay, sorry, one second. GitLab, CD jobs, right? Okay, if you see here, it is having run a pipeline. Okay, so if you see here, it is showing there are two jobs from the main. Okay, so what it is running, one is build the car and one is test the car. Okay, if you see here in the jobs, so it is running. Okay, so this is the running state, for the build the car, and what exactly it is doing, you can see it here. Okay, so it is trying to, like, build that image, okay, using Docker. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you, each and every step, but let me go back, and if you see here, it's again running, and what it is running, it is running the test the car job. Okay, so let's see whether if it is going to pass or fail. Let's see. Okay, so it has succeeded. Okay, so let's let's do something. Okay, let me go back to the jobs, and I'm just opening, the first one. This is passed. Okay, another is you see multiple, right? The first one is, sorry, why it went into test the car? Yeah, okay. Pipelines. Yeah. So if you see here in the pipeline, so there are two stages that it is going to say. One is build and the another one is test. Okay, two stages, and two stages are passed. Okay, so if you want to verify something in the uh, in the how the jobs has been run, okay, so the one is like, you can directly go and check, okay, status of the job, that is going to give you all the steps whatever it executed. Okay, so what it exactly created, actually it created, first it created, the environment which is required for, to run this YAML file. Okay, so and then, it went into created, whatever the repository we had it under the car, it pulled everything, the changes from the car repository, and after that, it started executing, the script. What script? The YAML file, whatever we have created. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is test. Okay, let me go to the previous one, the build. Hmm. Okay, now you see there. Okay, so it started pulling the code, from the repository, and it executed the sequence of commands, whatever we mentioned. It created a build folder, and you know, it navigated that, to the build, CD. Using CD, it changed the present directory, okay, to build, and it created a car.txt, and it added all these, strings, to the car.txt. And once everything is done, it uploaded, artifacts, to the build directory. So where you can see these artifacts, if you see here, job artifacts, if I click download, and it is going to download that artifact to you. Okay, so let's see, I'll show you how this artifacts looks like. See, it's created a build. Under the build, it should be having a car.txt, and if I open this car.txt, it will show you, those three stages: chassis, engine, and wheels. Right? It created whatever we have given in the whatever we have given the instruction in the YAML file. So this is our first, first pipeline, right? Build. And the second one, it is test, right? What we are doing in the test, we'll see that. Okay. So in the test the car, so whatever the build, whatever the artifact that we built on using YAML, okay. So we were trying to test that, we were trying to test that artifact with certain strings. So same way, first it is going to create its own environment, to test that, and later it follows our YAML file. It just followed the same thing. It checked whether the file is there or not. Okay, and if the file is there, actually it change it directly to the build, and it was verifying certain strings. Okay, so what is that? It displayed all the uh, data, whatever we have it on the SCADA.txt using because of cat command, and the grep command actually searched these things, and it printed. Okay, so let's do some small changes, okay, to understand um, you know uh, certain failures in the YAML file. Okay, let me go back to the repository. Okay, okay, I just choose the option edit. Okay, so I'm just giving this. Okay, I'm just removing this. Okay, and just go down, commit the changes. Okay, now I just remove this artifacts. Okay, and let's do something. Okay, we will just try to run the pipeline again. So yeah, it auto triggers. Okay, so it auto triggers whenever you change that GitLab.ca. Okay, yeah, because I think I remember, like I have chosen auto trigger whenever we have some changes in the CI. Okay, so now it started running the build the car, and now it build the car is successful, and it is running the test the car. Okay, so let's see what it is going to happen. We'll wait for a couple of minutes. Yeah, so if you see here, there is a build stage called failed. Okay, why test got failed? Okay, let's go and check. Yeah, if you see here, actually it built all the environment to run that test, but what happened when it was checking whether the file exists under the build slash core.txt or not, it did not see that. What it was saying, job failed, exit code 1. Why it is exit code 1? Because it was not able to find the car.txt under the build folder. Okay, so let me go back into the previous job. Okay, that is building the jar file, right? Building the file. Okay, so the build the car. Okay, I'm just going inside. Okay, so if you see here, actually it created everything. Okay, and but it did not have that artifacts created. Okay, so generally if you remember, like we were downloading that artifacts from here, right? So the steps of YAML file, it actually executed, but it did not created any of the file under the build. Okay, build folder. Why it is? Because yeah we were having this YAML file, which we have done some edits. Okay, so that edits actually, we removed all the artifacts related, properties. Okay, because of that, it was not able to, even though it built that file. Okay, it was not able to store that artifact. Okay, so for that purpose, actually, we require this artifact, to be there. And let's see one more different type of error. If you fail, if you have, once again, okay, yeah. So I did not have this error. Okay, so let me commit the changes, and yeah, the pipeline should be auto triggered. Yeah, it's running now. First stage and while building. It completed the phase one. Okay, the build, and now it is moving to the test. Yeah, it failed again. Okay, why it failed? Let's go and check. Okay, now it passed through that particular phase. Okay, in the previous where we actually did not find the file itself. So now it passed through that particular phase. It was able to find the file, and it was able to display all the content, whatever we have it in the that text file, right? And then later it was searching for one of the string which we have given in the to search it. It was not able to find that, so the test case got failed. Okay, so what exactly I wanted to tell you guys, like this is very simple example, to build something, using an YAML file. And if you see here the pipelines, whatever we have seeing it here. Okay, so we have a different kind of stages. One is building, the another one is testing, and the next one it is going to be code scan using some other some existing tools, whatever we have it in the GitLab. And the next step, it is going to build, it is going to perform a deployment to one of the server that we are going to choose it. So these are different stages of building your application. And uh, it finally it is going to deploy into the uh, the target server. Okay, so we are going to see those steps, okay, one by one, and we'll be deploying one of our demo application, whatever the application that we create, we'll definitely deploy that into AWS. Okay. So this is what we have it with YAML, okay, and the deployment and all those configuration. I think I'm gonna cover it the last week, okay, when we have the AWS related concepts cover. Okay, after that, I'm going to create a project. What are the project that we are going to take an example in future classes, like the next week and this week. That project will be deployed into the in both ways, like when we'll create an image of that using Docker, and we'll make it run in the container. And the next one, whatever the image that whatever the project that we are going to use, we will commit that entire code to GitLab, and we'll make sure that pipelines created to deploy it into the uh, AWS environment. Okay, so this is our agenda, okay, for next for next 2 weeks. And then for now, just get this YAML basics, how it is working, and how you can create a pipeline using different stages using the YAML file. So those things keep in mind. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay. Yeah, so we are good with today's class. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, feel free to log off.